The wheels touched the ground, and Marcus felt relief wash over him. But what he did not know was that the real nightmare was just beginning. In 30 minutes, he would be dragged off that plane in handcuffs. His life shattered by a mistake he did not make. All while 200 passengers watched in horror. Asterisk, before we dive in, what time are you listening? Where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Asterisk, Marcus Wellington had been awake for 19 hours straight. The software conference in Seattle had run longer than expected, and now all he wanted was to get home to Philadelphia, kiss his wife Jennifer, and collapse into bed. He was a senior data analyst at a medical research firm, the kind of guy who triple-checked his boarding pass and always arrived at the gate early. He settled into seat 1, 4C, placed his laptop bag under the seat in front of him, and closed his eyes as the plane taxied down the runway. Asterisk, the flight was smooth. Marcus dozed off somewhere over the Midwest, dreaming of nothing in particular. When the plane began its descent into Philadelphia, he woke up feeling groggy but grateful. He checked his phone, saw a text from Jennifer saying she was already on her way to pick him up, and smiled. Just another business trip completed. Just another normal day. Asterisk, the plane landed with a gentle bump. Passengers began reaching for their overhead luggage. Phones lit up all around him with welcome home messages and notifications. Marcus stood up, stretched his back, and reached for his carry-on bag. That is when he heard the voice over the intercom. Asterisk, please remain seated. We have a situation that requires immediate attention. Everyone please sit down. Asterisk, Marcus felt his stomach tighten. A situation. He looked around at the other passengers. Some were annoyed, others looked concerned. An elderly woman across the aisle clutched her purse tighter. A businessman in first class sighed loudly and sat back down. Marcus slowly lowered himself into his seat, his mind racing through possibilities. A medical emergency, a security threat. Asterisk, then he saw them. 2 police officers moving down the aisle, their faces stern and focused. Behind them, a flight attendant pointed directly at Marcus. His heart began to pound. What was happening? The officers stopped at his row. Asterisk, Marcus Wellington. Asterisk, yes, that is me. Is something wrong? Sir, you need to come with us, now. Marcus felt every eye on the plane turned toward him. 200 pairs of eyes, watching, judging, wondering what he had done. His face grew hot. His hands started shaking. Asterisk, there must be some mistake. I have not done anything. Sir, we need you to stand up and come with us immediately. Can you tell me what this is about? Asterisk, the officer's hand moved to his belt, near his handcuffs. Stand up. Now, asterisk, Marcus stood on trembling legs. He had never been in trouble with the law in his entire life. Not even a speeding ticket. He coached Little League on weekends. He volunteered at the community center. He paid his taxes early. And now he was being escorted off a plane like a criminal while everyone stared. Asterisk. The walk down that aisle felt like it lasted a lifetime. He could hear whispers. Someone pulled their child closer as he passed. A woman gasped. Marcus wanted to scream that there had been a mistake, that he was innocent, that he was just trying to get home. But his throat was too tight to speak. Asterisk, they took him through the jet bridge, past the gate agents who looked away quickly, and into a small airport security office. The room was grey and cold, with a metal table and 3 chairs. One officer stood by the door while the other pulled out a folder. Asterisk, Mr. Wellington, do you know why you are here? No, I honestly have no idea. The officer opened the folder and pulled out a photograph. It showed Marcus at the Seattle airport, going through security. Nothing unusual. Then another photo, this one showing him at his gate. Then a third photo, and Marcus's blood ran cold. Asterisk, it was a picture of a man who looked somewhat like him. Similar height, similar build, brown skin, short hair. But it was not him. The man in this photo wore a red jacket. Marcus had been wearing blue. The man had a beard. Marcus was clean-shaven. The man had a tattoo visible on his neck. Marcus had no tattoos. Asterisk, this man is wanted for assault in Seattle. We received a tip that he boarded this flight. Asterisk, Marcus felt dizzy. That is not me. Look at the photos. That is clearly not me. Asterisk, the officer studied the images, then looked at Marcus, then back at the images. We need to verify your identity. Asterisk, I have my driver's license. I have my passport. I have my work badge. I can show you everything. Asterisk, but they did not care about his documents at first. They made him stand against the wall. They took his photograph from multiple angles. They asked him where he had been for the past 3 days, who he had met with, where he had stayed. Marcus answered every question, his voice steady despite the panic rising in his chest. He gave them the name of his hotel, the name of the conference, the names of colleagues who could verify his presence at meetings, asterisk to hours past. Then 3. Jennifer called 4 times. He was not allowed to answer. They finally let him call her, and when he heard her voice, he almost broke down. Asterisk, they think I am someone else. They think I did something in Seattle. Asterisk, Jennifer arrived at the airport within 40 minutes. She brought their marriage license, their mortgage papers, photographs of them together spanning 10 years. She brought a letter from Marcus's employer confirming his business trip. She even brought their neighbor, Mr. Patterson, a retired judge who had known Marcus for 8 years. The officers finally began to look uncomfortable. They made calls. They checked databases. They compared the photos more carefully. The man they were actually looking for had been arrested in Seattle 2 hours earlier. Someone had failed to update the system. Someone had seen a black man in his 30s boarding a plane and assumed he must be the suspect. Someone had made a phone call that ruined Marcus's entire day, his sense of safety, his dignity. Asterisk, we apologize for the inconvenience, Mr. Wellington. You are free to go, asterisk, inconvenience. That was the word they used, as if being dragged off a plane, treated like a criminal, and held for 3 hours was just a minor inconvenience. As if the humiliation of 200 people watching him being escorted away in suspicion was something he could just shake off. Asterisk, Marcus and Jennifer walked out of that airport in silence. She held his hand tight. He stared straight ahead, trying to process what had just happened. When they got to the car, he finally spoke. Asterisk, they did not even really look at me. They just saw someone who looked close enough. Asterisk, Jennifer wiped tears from her eyes. I know, baby. Asterisk, that night, Marcus could not sleep. He kept replaying the moment in his mind. The officer's hand moving toward the handcuffs. The whispers from other passengers. The feeling of being guilty until proven innocent. He had done everything right. He had followed every rule. He had lived a good, clean, honest life. And none of it had mattered in that moment. Asterisk, the next morning, Marcus received a formal apology letter from the airline. It was generic, clearly a template, with his name filled in. We regret any distress this incident may have caused. We take passenger safety and dignity seriously. We are reviewing our procedures. But words on paper did not erase what had happened. Marcus went back to work the following Monday. His colleagues had heard about the incident. Some offered sympathy. Others seemed uncomfortable, changing the subject quickly. One co-worker actually asked him if he was sure it was all a misunderstanding, as if maybe Marcus had done something to warrant suspicion. Weeks passed. Marcus found himself anxious every time he had to travel for work. Going through airport security made his heart race. He would double-check his identification, make sure everything was perfect. Dress in a way he hoped looked professional and unthreatening. He hated that he now thought this way. He hated that one incident had stolen his peace of mind. Jennifer suggested he talk to someone, a therapist who specialized in trauma. At first, Marcus resisted. He had not been physically hurt. Nothing permanent had happened. But Jennifer insisted, and eventually he went. The therapist, Dr. Reeves, listened to his story without interruption. When Marcus finished, she leaned forward. What you experienced is real trauma. You were profiled, detained, and humiliated based on your appearance. The fact that it was resolved does not erase the harm done. Marcus felt something break open inside him. He had been trying to convince himself that he was overreacting, that he should just move on. But hearing someone validate his pain made him realize how much he had been carrying. I keep thinking about all the times this might have happened to other people. People who did not have a wife who could rush to the airport with documents. People who did not have a retired judge as a neighbor. People who did not have an employer who backed them up. What happens to them? Dr. Reeves nodded slowly. That is the question, is it not? Your privilege in education, employment, and connection saved you, but the system failed you first. It saw you as suspicious before it saw you as human. Marcus started speaking publicly about his experience. He wrote an article that got picked up by a national news outlet. He was invited to speak at a conference about implicit bias in law enforcement. Some people thanked him for sharing his story. Others accused him of exaggerating, of playing a victim, of making something out of nothing. But Marcus kept speaking, because he knew his story was not unique. He knew that every day, people were judged by their appearance, by assumptions, by systems that were supposed to protect everyone but seemed to protect some more than others. A year after the incident, Marcus received an email from a young man named Deshaun had been stopped by police 6 times in 2 years while walking in his own neighborhood. He had been questioned, searched, and detained, always released without charges because he had done nothing wrong. He wrote to Marcus saying that hearing his story helped him feel less alone, less crazy for being angry about it. Marcus wrote back immediately. Your anger is valid. Your experience is real. And you deserve better. That exchange changed something in Marcus. He realized that his worst day had given him a platform, a voice, a responsibility. He started working with community organizations that trained law enforcement on bias. He volunteered with youth programs, teaching young black and brown kids their rights, how to stay safe, how to document interactions with police. Jennifer watched him transform his pain into purpose. She was proud, but she also worried. She saw how much energy it took, how he sometimes came home from speaking events exhausted, having relived his trauma over and over to help others understand. Asterisk one evening, she asked him if it was worth it. Asterisk Marcus thought for a long moment. Every time I tell my story, someone in the audience nods. Someone understands. Someone feels seen. If my worst day can prevent someone else from having theirs, then yes, it is worth it. Asterisk, the airline eventually changed some of its policies. They implemented additional verification steps before law enforcement could remove passengers based on suspicion. They trained staff on bias recognition. It was not enough, not nearly enough, but it was something. Asterisk Marcus still travels for work. He still feels that flutter of anxiety when boarding a plane. But he also knows that he survived something that should never have happened. He knows that he turned his pain into action. He knows that silence would have been easier, but speaking up was necessary. Asterisk, the wheels had touched the ground that day, and Marcus had thought his journey was over. But in truth, it was just beginning. A different kind of journey. One that forced him to confront uncomfortable truths about the world he lived in. One that showed him both the cruelty and the kindness that humans are capable of. One that taught him that being right, being innocent, being good, is sometimes not enough. Asterisk, but it also taught him that his voice mattered, that his experience mattered, that telling the truth, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was painful, could create change. Asterisk, so, if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this.